Hello, we are off, ladies and gentlemen. We have a new guest here. It's Peter from Waves and Games. Welcome, Peter.
What's up? What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Peter is doing a Waves and Games contest. That's true, but he's doing a Wave Race community contest, and so I got linked up with him through Omega Ace Gaming. Shout out. And I'm very excited to have him here today to commentate over my gameplay, my shitty gameplay of Wave Race 64 on Expert. Welcome.
I'm going to judge it harshly, don't worry.
All right. Yeah, I could use the feedback, you know. I haven't done the mirror mode yet, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, gosh, mirror mode is the worst. I hate it.
I avoided it, but yeah, no, this has been a great experience, and it's really brought me to appreciate the game in a new light in a way that I feel like I missed out on. So I'm really appreciative of this challenge. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. You know, you're not the first person to say that. A lot of people that joined in haven't either ever played this game before, or they hadn't played it in a long time. And so it's been really cool to watch people get reacquainted with Wave Race and realize like how good of a race, not just a racing game, but like the water physics of it, the music, everything. Just people getting reacquainted with it has been really fun to watch. Just the joy that comes from this game.
Awesome. I can't wait to get into it. I can't wait to see the results of the contest. So, ladies and gentlemen at home, go subscribe to Waves and Games here on YouTube.
Yeah, go check it out.
So before we get into maybe Wave Race stuff, I think we can just hold off on commentating for a little bit and just talk about YouTube stuff. So, I was kind of curious, like, what your YouTube journey has been like.
Yeah, so I would say my YouTube journey probably started in around 2017 with the channel Do You Nerd. If you're familiar with them, Tom and Lacey. I'm not actually part of their channel, but they decided that they wanted to make a YouTube channel, and they knew I wrote music, so they asked me to write a theme song for their channel. And so that's how I kind of got into the YouTube space with them, was kind of helping them out with music and editing and sound, because that's some things that I have some knowledge in. And then from there, I met up with a bunch of other people in the space. And then in late 2019, I started my own channel, Waves and Games. And originally I wanted to do just game songs and sounds and talk about how all that's made. And that didn't happen. The first thing that I did was I call them gamer tales. People would send in their stories, and I would make really crude animations, just like single frame animations for the stories. And then that turned into a lot of work, and so I did a couple pickup videos. And the two top videos that I have on my channel, one is how to wrap cables for your game controllers, because that's actually super important. So if you don't know how, go check that out. And then my other top video is me ranting about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 and the sound that they, in a preview, that they messed up. It's just so silly. But so I guess I did get to game sounds eventually. But since then, I've kind of pivoted where I want my channel to go. And the idea for the videos that I make now is that I want the video to be watchable when my daughters grow up, so that they look at it and they don't say, oh, my dad bought some video games. I want them to look at it and say, oh, these are experiences my dad had, or this is some advice that my dad had that was related to video games. And so that's kind of the direction that my videos take. And then on the other side, I live stream every Monday night at 9:30 Central. And I'm just playing through games that I never finished up. Like, it started out with Ocarina of Time, because I had never played through Ocarina of Time. And now I've made it through Halo 1, 2, 3, and Reach. And I'm working on Sly Cooper right now. So it was trying to get through all of my backlog, essentially, and hanging out with people and just having fun. So that's kind of my journey in YouTube.
Wow, it's such a vast array of things to talk about, number one, but also just such an interesting background. You have a lot of technical skills, but you also have a lot to say, and that's awesome. I think YouTube's our own kind of like personal diaries, and we kind of like treat them how we want. So it's interesting to hear your perspective about like how you see your channel going forward. And I do think that YouTube is such a funny beast because like your how-tos are going to be the ones that are always like the view gatherers. I go through that myself too, and I'm like, come on, really? Like I have to have beginner guide videos be like my best things, or talking about hardware. I want to talk about wave race. I don't want to talk about, you know, like an adapter.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
You know, I think you have to do a little bit of both and think about how you can integrate those things. I found like a way of being, because I don't know, like I teach, right? So like it's part of my background to just kind of like talk about how to do things or like teach people things. So I've thought about how like I can do that and bring my own personable element while like without hating the thing and being like, come on, that thing. And I think as long as you're very intentional about your videos and, you know, you're building some kind of like portfolio, and honestly, who cares, you know, at the end of the day, what it amounts to monetarily, as long as personally you find some fulfillment, I think that's huge.
I agree. My oldest, she asked me about once a quarter. She's like, how many subscribers do you have, Dad? And I say, it literally does not matter. Like, that's not why I do this. I do YouTube because I have a thought and I want to share it with somebody. You know, I guess I could just post on X or Twitter and that I could share that thought, but then it feels less like it's going to go somewhere. I feel like making videos is a full expression of the thought that we're having, and we want to share that with people.
Do you ever get surrounded by the, oh, YouTube isn't like it used to be mentality? Like there's no people who just do it for like the fun anymore?
I don't know if I would say I get surrounded. I do hear that. I do hear people talk about that, right? Because if you go back to like 2017, even, I mean, if you go back to the beginning of YouTube, I did have a channel in like 2008 and 2009 where I posted myself doing like dumb parkour. Like it wasn't even real parkour. It was like just being really dumb. I was really young. But if you, let's go to like 2017 when retro gaming YouTube kind of started really picking up. At least that's when I got involved with it. And so that's, to me, it's when it started. A lot of it was people just really DIYing, and it didn't look great. And that's the thing. People are equating quality with people not care, or only caring about money, right? There's this mentality that I see that if your video doesn't look like crap, then you probably are just worried about being monetized. Yeah, so I think there's a disconnect there. On that, and there are for sure a lot of people that make videos that are algorithm based towards, like, you know, we know game hunting videos do well, so we're going to do game hunting videos, or, you know, we don't see a lot of unboxings anymore because we all know unboxings don't get views, and so that's kind of a shift that I've seen in the space. But I think for the majority of people, I wouldn't say that we're getting surrounded by that mentality or that rhetoric.
That's probably accurate. Yeah, I feel like it's a fraction, but it's like a loud minority. And it's nothing against those people. Yeah. I get it. Like, you know, I mean, I've been on YouTube. Like I was posting karaoke videos when I was a teenager in high school. You can't find those videos. I was posting me attempting to skateboard when I was like in I don't know, 2010, trying to do an ollie, and I could barely get off the ground. But you know, I mean, and do I want to go back to those days? Not really, but I also some of that spirit still kind of lives on, and I think that like most people here probably still have that. It's probably just that the things you're being fed are like, you know, the highest quality things.
That's really it too. It's the things you're being fed. Like all the time I get random small channels that are still doing the things that people were doing in 2017, 2018, you know, and that is because they're just starting out. And when you are just starting out, people have the same like path a lot of times, where you start in a certain direction and then you realize, hey, I don't want to actually do that anymore. And so you branch off and things kind of get a little bit different. But I feel like there's a lot of people that start with like pickup videos, and so I still get fed, you know, these channels that have 100 views and it's like a pickup video. It's still there, it's still out there. But if you're just watching the same 100,000 subscriber channels or 250,000 subscriber channels, then you're going to get fed that same stuff over and over. And that's part of just how algorithms work. You have to go out and search for the things you really are looking for.
For sure. Any channels you'd like to shout out that you've been watching recently that, I don't know, high subscriber count or not, it doesn't matter, but anyone that stands out to you?
Yeah. Retro Rivals, they just put out a really great video about being honest in your creation in YouTube. I think that's a really good channel. Scott and Jen are awesome. Obviously, Do You Nerd, I shouted out a second ago. Captain Algebra, good friends of mine. Gaming Off the Grid. Chris Pico, who runs the channel Midwest. Sorry, that's Brosman's channel. See, Chris changed his channel name somewhat recently, and we're not allowed to say his old name because people get demonetized for saying it. so his new channel is Midlife Crisis Media. That's kind of where I would say like my circle is those channels. That's where I go. Mr. Mullet Gaming. And you know what? This guy doesn't make videos much anymore, but if you guys find Lightsaber Samurai, go and spam his channel and say, Antoine, make more videos. We need you back, man.
Dope. A lot of good recommendations there. I love it. I haven't heard any of the names, so I'm happy to kind of...
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Circle somehow. Okay. Yeah, I think I want to talk a little bit about maybe the streaming element too. So I played this game on stream. That's not where this gameplay comes from, but I do think that streaming is super helpful for some of those personal goals as well. I've been doing that like similarly, like as just an effort to play more games and to knock some off of like the backlog. Did you feel like you had a backlog at one point?
Oh, yeah, I still have a backlog. So when I was like 8 years old, I was diagnosed ADHD, and so I went to like play therapy to learn how to like focus my mind and work with that. But because of that, I also am really good at dabbling in things, and so I have a lot of games that I've played like 3 hours in or whatever, and then I'm like, all right, that was fun, and then I go get something else, or then I just go play Tony Hawk again. Like I've played Tony Hawk Pro Skater so many times, like 1 through whatever. But I do have not a huge collection of games, but there are a bunch of games that I have from growing up and have rebought after years of not having them that I just need to get through. And that's really why I started streaming again. I say again because I started streaming in 2020, and I would stream when I was on my lunch break when I was working from home. And then we moved and I stopped working from home and kind of stopped streaming for a bit. And so then this last year I decided I really want to find out why everyone likes Ocarina of Time so much. Because I've made it to the Temple of Time 50 times, and then I just kind of give up on the game. And I know that there's a lot more after that. So I decided I'm going to stream it, and I'm going to force myself to play every Monday night at 9:30. And that is how I got through that game. And I say got through as if it was a chore, but really what it became, and what I still feel like streaming is like sitting on the couch with a friend who's already played through these games, and they're just giving you like tips, and you're just hanging out, chatting with your friend, and also enjoying a game. And so that's how I see streaming really, is getting through my backlog and hanging out with my friends. So if there's 7 friends in the chat, or if there's 27 friends, like, we're all here to have a good time.
That's awesome. What did you think of Ocarina?
I really enjoyed it. Once I finally got past the Temple of Time and got into it, I don't think that the big Goron sword needs to exist. Like, that was kind of an annoying fetch quest. That's just why I haven't played Majora's Mask, because I heard Majora's Mask is like all fetch quests, and I'm not really down for that. But it left an impression. You know, I once I finished it, I said, I want to play this again, like now. I'm going to start from the beginning again and go back through. Now, have I done that? No, because of my inability to focus on things. But
sure. I will say Ocarina is like
obviously
my favorite game of all time, so it's nice to hear somebody had a refreshing experience with it in 2025.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's so many people that's their favorite game. Like, not just their favorite Zelda game, but like their favorite game. And after playing through it, I really start to understand why. Like, the puzzle mechanics of it really open up later in the game. Like, at the beginning of the game, it's like pretty hand-holdy. Like, okay, we're gonna get through this part. And then when I got like way further into the game, I realized like there's a lot that's going on here. Like we need to start using I can't remember the name of everything, but it's like the magnifying glass to be able to see like the secret openings and everything. And then you have to use that outside of the dungeons to find other items. And I was like, well, this is crazy. This is really advanced for Nintendo 64 era. At least I thought it was advanced. Maybe it was pretty normal, but
that's interesting. I never really thought of it from like the technical level. I always think of it like in a narrative sense. I just think it's very imaginative. Creatures, people, dungeons. Dungeon design is pretty strong. Music, like you said, like top notch. Kind of like vibe setting. I don't know.
And now that I've played it, like the music makes more sense to me too. Like I've listened to the soundtrack before because everyone's like, Ocarina of Time's so good, the music. And now playing through it, I have a lot more respect for the music and an understanding of why this music was playing, where it was playing. And so what music does for everyone, it brings back memories and it brings back just that feeling of playing the game, you know.
What is your favorite game? Or top, whatever, 3.
Yeah, I got actually asked that in a job interview when I was working for a game company, and my immediate answer was Donkey Kong Country 2. I love Donkey Kong Country 2. It is so good.
It makes a lot of sense, especially with the Donkey Kong Country Challenge video you had. I tried just playing casually. I was just like, I'm in a Donkey Kong Country mood. So I tried just seeing how far I got with one hit. It was the first world.
There's a lot of people got messed out in the first. I mean, Andy from Pac-Man Case. Shout out to the Pac-Man Case. He got hit by the very first enemy. It's like, Andy, you could have tried again, man. Come on.
Was he the one that says I'm an expert at Donkey Kong Country?
Yeah. He's like, I'm so good. Oh wait, and then failed so fast.
That's kind of funny though.
Yeah, but I mean, so for me, Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2, Donkey Kong Country is one of the first games that I played on a kiosk in Toys R Us when I was a kid. Like, so that was like a core memory for gaming. And then I had a friend when I was 10 to 12. It was like a 2-year period that we lived in that area. And I would go to his house and we played Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2 all the time. And so like it's a game that has always been around and it's always been a part of my history and my experience as a gamer. And so it brings back a lot of, I mean, everything retro is nostalgia based now, right? And so if I want to feel the most nostalgia, I play some Donkey Kong Country 2.
Okay. Yeah. What makes you prefer 2 over 1? I guess, is it just the memories or is there something more?
No. So, I mean, I have technically more memories with 1, but 2, I think the music is better integrated into the game. I did a video a couple years back, which soundtrack is better, Donkey Kong Country 1 or Donkey Kong Country 2, and a lot of people voted for 1. And I think that came out because if you listen to them outside of the game, 1 is a much more enjoyable experience just listening to music. But 2, the music really helps to amplify the tense nature of some of the levels. It also helps cool down some of the other levels. I think it integrated a lot better into the gameplay. Also, having Dixie and Diddy, they give a lot more movement options in Donkey Kong Country 2. And then also some of the bosses are more imaginative than, in Donkey Kong Country 1, to beat the boss, you jump on them. That's how you win. But in 2, there's more like throwing projectiles and using the environment a little bit more, which is something they built on for 3. And a lot of the boss battles for 3 got really imaginative. But I think 2 is the best use of environment battles. The level design makes the most sense as you're going through. And I've even watching people that have never played it before, they seem to be able to navigate 2 a little bit better than 1. Even though 1's pretty basic, for some reason 2 seems to flow better.
That's interesting. I've always just been intimidated more by 2. I have played it at least twice, but 1 is pretty, newbie friendly.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, just roll, jump, like, I don't, pick up the barrel, Ramby, It's not too bad, but two
Yeah, and
gets
then
complex.
two, you get the more options with your animal buddies too, because you get Squitter the spider, and you get Squawks the parrot. And so Squitter has a whole move set that doesn't exist in any other Donkey Kong Country game, with the webs that you shoot, but then also you can make platforms out of the webs. And then like Squawks allows you to fly around and you shoot projectiles. So they have even more options. That's basically why 2 is the best to me, really, is that there's a lot more options just to get through it all. Whether you're playing as Dixie or Diddy or using an animal buddy, there's a lot to do, which, like you said, could be intimidating because there is so much to do.
Mm-hmm. But that's a good combo too, Diddy Dixie. Dixie, she's more newbie friendly too, in a sense, but she's got the speed of Diddy, whereas Donkey kind of just feels like he got the short end of the stick in the first game.
It's so true. Yeah, the speed difference between Donkey Kong and Dixie Kong is vast. I didn't really notice that when I was a kid, but playing back through, I only used Donkey Kong for a few things to get through the first game, versus in Donkey Kong Country 2, I switch back and forth between the two characters depending on where we're at a lot. Like that, it's probably like 60% Dixie and 40% Diddy, but still that's a lot better than 95% Diddy and 5% Donkey Kong.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. I'll have to give 2 another try sometime this year.
Nice.
Exciting though. All right, I think we should get into Wave Race 64. I probably got enough new viewers here like, dude, where's the Wave Race commentary? Well, here's your timestamp, my friends. Let's talk about Wave Race. What was your first experience / memories and history with Wave Race 64?
For sure. So the Wave Race 64, if you guys didn't know, is a launch title for the 64. My family growing up, we didn't have a lot of gaming consoles. In fact, by a lot, I mean any. I think we had a Game Boy. My grandma bought me a Game Boy when I was in like 3rd grade, and that was the only console we owned ourselves. When the 64 came out and the PlayStation 1 came out, Blockbuster would allow you to rent the console as well as the game. And so for my birthday party, my mom rented a Nintendo 64, Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, and Wave Race. And I think Cruisin' USA too was all that same weekend. Like they just dropped like $200 and rented all of it, which is crazy because you could have just bought a console, but okay, whatever. I think the part of it, my parents didn't want it in the house like all the time. But so we rented those 4 games and we played Mario first because it's Mario. And then we played Wave Race second because we were like, what is this? We were in Southern California at the time. We were very much in the beach culture. And so having a beach centric game, we thought, let's play it. Let's see what's up. And ever since then, this has been in my top 5 64 games ever. Like, you can't top Wave Race.
Interesting. So, as a resident beach goer, how did you feel it stood up as a beach game?
Oh, it was like being at the beach as a kid, even though we're at our house, like especially we're here on Sunset Bay right now on this track. This is really what it feels like when you're on the West Coast and the sun's setting at the beach. I don't know what it's like at the East Coast because I know you guys get the sun rises and it's a little bit different, but this is pretty similar. If you're at a bay where there's not a lot of huge waves going on and the sun's setting down, this is what it looks like. Maybe not as orange, but it's pretty similar.
Interesting. I was thinking it was more like Florida, but I guess California makes sense. I don't know if we really
I guess
like this.
Florida has a West Coast too.
Our East Coast water is not this pristine. It's definitely murkier. We have a lot of seaweed in the water, so I don't know.
Depending on which beach you go to, you get that too.
We have a couple beaches that are decent, but this clear, nah. You got to go to the Pacific Ocean for that.
Yeah.
But so you never felt any kind of well, we already have the beach, so why do we need the beach at home?
Well, I mean, I thought the beach was far away from us, but we were in San Diego. Like, everything's within 20 minutes. But as a kid, I thought, man, the beach is so far. And so when we couldn't go to the beach, this was kind of like a nice holdover. We were playing with dolphins. where we only knew them as Shamu at the time. We didn't really know they were called killer whales. Like, oh, there's Shamu and there's dolphins, and we're riding jet skis. Like, this is good enough if we can't make it to the beach this weekend.
I get it. Yeah, it's kind of like that kid nostalgia in a sense. Well, I can't go to the beach, so you don't have that independence. So the video game is
exactly
the escape from the reality, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and growing up, I thought that all the waves were randomized too, because we weren't. Now when I play Wave Race, I'm at a level where I play pretty much the same every time, and my flow is very similar. But as a kid, playing against my siblings, we're hitting each other, and the waves kind of hit you differently when you're doing that. And so I thought that like these waves are all random, and this is like a really crazy game. I've since learned that the waves are the same every time. But even knowing when the waves are coming and how they're going to come, just the mechanic of how they move through the water makes the game more of a race against the water itself than it is against the other players. Because really, once you get to like first or second, for the most part, you can hold that position unless a big wave comes and you weren't ready for it.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's like a battle with the elements in a sense. But my thing is, like, if you can learn to ride the wave, like that can really propel you in some ways too. On that last one, what was it? Not Sunny Beach. It was the Sunset one.
Sunset Bay.
Sunset Bay. Yeah, like Bay. I think it's like towards the finish line there. Oh no, it's the last one. Whatever the one with the killer whale is. At the end of the lap, like a wave.
Southern Island.
Southern Island, and there's like a wave that you can kind of coast into the finish line with.
Yeah.
And I always love like catching. Yeah. It's like you're surfing the wave.
Yeah, dude, I love that wave too. I always, like I said, I grew up playing like Tony Hawk, right? And being in Southern California, I'm also a skater and a surfer, like body surfer, boogie board, and that wave specifically feels like you are like surfing. It very much feels had that same. You're moving forward and you feel that power behind the wave moving with you. Even though you're not in the game, there's no rumble pack for most people if you're not playing a certain version of Wave Race, but there is this connection that you feel towards it as you're propelled to the finish line. Yeah, that wave is sick on Southern Island. I know which one you're talking about. It's so good. This
one has a crazy one at the beginning too, that every time I see it in the beginning of the stage, I try and take advantage. It's like right before that little cement wall. And I learned that if you push down on the control stick, you can go over the wave or over the cement.
So there's actually two waves if you watch right here. There's one that you want to press forward on and then back on this one. That's how you clear it the easiest way. It looks like you did a really good job on that one.
Yeah, that one was pretty
Also, for anyone that's
getting so clean. That was not intentional. That was a massive spit out.
Dude, that was sick. You just did a huge barrel roll. That was awesome. Seriously, I don't know if that barrel roll was intentional, but that was sick.
Yeah.
If this was stunt mode, you would have done really well.
Yeah, the water like in each stage is so like diverse here too. Like even like just listening to what is this one called? Marine something or Fort something?
This is Marine Fortress.
Marine Fortress. I got half of each. Marine Fortress.
Yeah.
This is just such like a tidal tempest, compared to the other three that were so calm.
Well, and then if you if anyone is to play the game, if you look at Drake Lake, there's actually no waves in Drake Lake. The thing that you're fighting against there is the fog, and being able to navigate the world without being able to see it very well. So that was really interesting. As I've been doing this challenge for Wave Race on my channel, I've been thinking more about like what is actually the real challenge to some of these levels. And Drake Lake, it's that fog, because there's no waves at all. I didn't even realize that, even though I've been playing this game for like 30 years. Like, it's
you
crazy.
Didn't include Drake Lake as one of the custom circuit courses, right?
Correct. I did not.
What was your rationale for the course selection?
For sure. So the reason that I picked, the courses that I picked were Sunny Beach, Sunset Bay, Marine Fortress, Twilight City, and then Southern Island. And the main, is that all of them? Right? I think that's what I got. Yeah. And the reason that I picked all those is is because of the waves that they have. They're all ones that have either waves that you can catch, like the Southern Island one. There's also the very first wave in Sunset Bay. If you go left right after the takeoff, you can catch that wave and it will propel you forward as well. Even though it's going sideways, it's kind of like gets you at an angle, and so stuff like that. I was looking for ones that had positive waves that could help you along, but also were more visually appealing. So like watching Drake Lake is not that exciting, if you're watching a bunch of people play the same level, because it's a bunch of fog and a bunch of just gray for the first lap. And then the second lap is a little bit less gray and you can see the pylons a little bit more. And then the third lap it's cleared up because, they're going off of the assumption that the sun's rising and the fog clears up on the lake, which is how it happens in real life. So that's just a cool touch of the game. But my goal was to make it so that more people could be a part of it, but have visually appealing levels, which is why we got to Twilight City and we got to Hard, but I didn't want to include Glacier Coast, or I think it's called Cool Wave on the Japanese version. But that one's only on Expert, and you have to have beaten Expert to unlock it. So that was my rationale, was what levels look pretty, but also give people the opportunity who have never played the game before to actually get to all the levels. So Twilight City being the hardest one to get to, because you have to have beaten the hard circuit to unlock it in time trials.
So I don't know if this was exclusive to my Japanese copy, but just by playing, even on hard, even if I didn't win, I did unlock the Twilight City for time trials, and the same with the Glacier Coast one. But either way, I think it's still a good testament to play through the game on hard. It's pretty standard difficulty.
Yeah. Well, and then the normal, once someone's played through the normal track, even if it's your first time playing, getting through those few races, it's like a 10-minute time frame. Like, you're going to get through it within under 15 minutes. So it's not a lot of dedication to get through that. So I wanted to have people actually put in a little bit of effort to be a part of the challenge. Mm-hmm. But there was a challenge a few years ago that someone did for Mario Kart on Super Nintendo, and they had been playing the game and they had their childhood copy, and so they said, hey, we're going to play the highest difficulty. And then it turns out the only way to be able to play that is you have to beat in the whole game. And so we were like, so a lot of people can't join in because they don't have time to beat the whole game. And so I took that into consideration while I was making this challenge. It was, how much of a time dedication is it going to be for people to join in on this one?
That's fair. And Super Mario Kart's brutal on even 100cc. The life count, the top 4 cutoffs. I mean, this one has cutoffs too, but it's pretty fair for the most part.
It's pretty forgiving. If you get first in the first 3 races, you can kind of coast through the rest of the game. Except I think you have to get 28 to get up at the end. Expert was tough to be able to get through,
to maintain that. Yeah, because I kept getting kicked out. There were a couple of things I didn't know, because what I also appreciate, one, every course is so diverse. They also change some little things about each course. Like this one, Twilight City. Is that what it's called, Twilight City?
Yeah, Twilight City.
They change it so that the ramp, you can't actually just go over the ramp. You have to do a dive under the water on the higher difficulty.
Right, yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, because on hard you just fly over it, and then expert to dive under, and then also the land or the water mines, the spike balls. On hard, there's one section. There's the section after the sandbar where they have them there, and then after the first jump, there's actually 2 that are behind the jump, which you're never gonna hit unless somehow you get turn around it. And that's really it. But then when you get to expert, there's spikes everywhere. They just chuck them in.
Yeah, and the buoy placement makes it trickier too. And this one it's not so bad, but the Marine Fort kind of messed me up. But I was so proud of myself when I figured out that nosedive, because I was like, I'm not going to look this up. I'm going to figure this out, because the computer players keep seeming to lap me, and there's something I'm not doing, and I realized just kind of pushing down. I was like,
Well,
oh my god.
And I think that the game design is that like you play through the main challenge, and then after you have a hard time beating those levels, you think, oh, maybe I'll go try stunt mode or whatever. Or if you do the warm up from the first, it actually teaches you how to do the nosedives, backflips, barrel rolls, handstands. If you do the warm up, you can learn all that stuff. So most people are going to be like, I don't want to warm up. I know how to race. And then so they miss out on the instruction, which is kind of interesting because a lot of times now we're forced to do tutorials, and the things that are in the tutorials seem to be pretty straightforward. But it seems like in games like this where there's tutorials, you get a lot of really interesting insight that you might not have known about.
Yeah, it was my short sight getting the Japanese copy. The American copy's cheap enough too, but it worked out in the end too. So this course was definitely a bit of a tricky one with the ice and everything.
Well, and one thing it took me, I want to say years to realize, is that here on Glacier Coast, or Cool Wave is what they call it on this, again, Japanese version, that big ice patch. So after we'll follow along here. Good job missing the jumps. That's good. And then right here, you actually have to turn left. Yep. And then be able to get the actual tight turn. If you just hit that and try to turn right, you slide all the way past the buoy and you miss out. You power down and everything just becomes a lot more difficult because you were going 118 or whatever kilometers an hour, and all of a sudden you're going 75.
Yeah, and I always spin out if I just go for a straight glacier pass. So I always do the cut and turn, or the double cut left, cut right. And it mostly works out, but then if you push too hard, yeah, this one is just brutal.
Yeah, right there. See, yeah, right there, and you fall.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Yeah, we could talk about maybe just the mechanics of it too. So just kind of like how to play, just kind of the fundamentals. Like there's the buoy system where it's right, left buoys, and it's always kind of weaving in and out of both. How do you feel about the mechanics for Wave Race?
Without the buoys, this game would be way too easy, I think. So I really like the buoy system and how that works out. I also do like how the changes from normal to hard to expert are implemented as well. Like Drake Lake, for instance, is probably the most drastic change from normal to expert when you're looking at the buoy system, because you are getting where it's almost like a straight shot through a lot of that level to all of a sudden you have to do the sharpest turns possible. And one cool mechanic that they have is that if you press B, that I didn't realize this until I read the manual, but if you press B on a wave, it actually allows you to kind of break through the wave and not get tossed so hard, but also it's not breaking it at all. So technically, and I tried this out to see if it worked, you can actually just hold the gas and B, so Z and B or A and B the whole time, and it allows you to cut through waves without having to worry about getting tossed around too much.
Yeah, I think it's called dampening the wave.
Yeah, dampening. Yeah.
So here I'm actually following a pro tip from Mr. Waves and Games, which was to customize the characters. I actually didn't bother with this at all. I was kind of just running with my favorite racers, but he recommended Mr. R. Hayami, and then there's a balance here, which I can't seem to translate at the moment. But
yeah, so it's the top one it should be engine, which is
heavy or
dash versus
the top one.
Is the top one tight or light?
Yeah, heavy. It just says I can go. Well, I won't go back, but it said lighto or heavy. Well, you could talk about the other ones. The other one was dash or what?
Yeah, so there's dash and top end. So essentially, the three things is: are you going to be more acceleration based or top speed based? Oh, that's what it's. So it's engine, handling, and grip. So engine is dash or top end, so faster acceleration or top speed, and then handling is tight or is it tight or loose? No, the grip is tight or loose. Just how hard you're going to hold on to when you run into things, and then your handling is light or heavy. That's right, and that just determines how fast or how slow you turn. And so if you set things to dash and light for your handling and a tight grip, you're able to navigate with less motion in the joystick, essentially, is what you're going to see there. And that, I think that's what you were able to do here. And you can see, if you guys want to go back and watch the previous race on this track, you'll notice that you're able to turn a lot faster around these corners just because your handling was a little bit more, I guess tight is the best word for it.
Yeah, it almost messed me up because he was just hitting the corner so tight, and I went straight past me. Spin out. We all spin out here. I don't know what happened. We'll go back and we'll see what it says. But I was just shocked at like how much different he was controlling. It's like, how have I been using this female this way this whole time? You know, this guy's he's all right. Yeah, so the second one was engine, and I missed the last, but the top one was handling, and then the bottom one was something else.
Is the grip, yeah. Okay. And if we look at the racers, the first one, Hayami, I believe his last name was, he's like the best all around. If you just go for the normal stats. And then the next guy is the dark blue racer, or purplish. He is really tight on the handling. So if you were to turn with him, even just in his normal settings, and you've never played before, you're going to flip into the side of the course. So you have to really practice with him and get good. But I think he's best for stunt mode because of that, because you're able to get through all the rings and get into like handstands and everything, because it responds much quicker to your inputs. And then we get to the female racer, and she's got the best acceleration, but not the best top speed, right? So like she takes off real quick, but if you, which is good for recoveries if you run into stuff, but if you're only stuck on straightaways, then she kind of gets lost. And then the last guy, he's all about top speed, but has zero handling. And so if you're gonna play with, I think his name's Tommy. If you're gonna play with him, you really gotta try to learn how to handle the jet ski.
He's called D. Barriner, and it's always D. Barriner was my rival. I don't know if it's something else. Tommy.
Oh, D. Mariner. I think I named him Tommy when I was a kid, because there's Snowboard Kids 2 has a character named Tommy who looks just like him. So I renamed him Tommy in my game. That's what it was.
I see. You know, my copy had some like nonsense names in it. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, I booted. You know, I didn't know like to change the settings. So I thought these guys, like these first two, were like, you know, nonsense characters. But I reset the factory settings for when we did the challenge here. Yeah, we got Hayami, Mariner, Jeter, and Stewart. Those are the original.
Jeter, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, Jeter's the guy with the handling. And then what a cool thing for the developers to put in. If you go into the options and really check out the game, you can change the name of the characters. I know when I was in like high school, I renamed all the characters to like me and my best friends. And so it was like, oh, this is my crew and we're racing jet skis, you know? It's just a small touch, but it's super cool.
Yeah, that and the ability to, you know, move their settings in different ways is pretty awesome. You know, you know, how many times you play Mario Kart? It's like, I want to use Donkey Kong, but like he sucks, you know. So
yeah, his acceleration's horrible, so I don't want to play with him or whatever.
So it's always a battle of Toad and Yoshi. That's what it was for me in college. You know, my roommate would always pick Toad, and it's like there's no shot against him. It's Mario, so you basically have to go Yoshi if you wanted to have a shot.
Did you know in Mario Kart on Super Nintendo, it's actually the Koopa Trooper that is the fastest, the best all around?
Yeah, all-rounder.
I learned that when we did. Yeah, the best all-arounder. So if you're really good, then pick Bowser actually because he has the best top speed, but his acceleration's horrible.
Yeah. Well, good luck on his castle. Oof.
Yeah.
Star Cup and
he's the D Mariner.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some runs as D Mariner. I want to say this about the speed runs, like you were saying, like watching people's gameplay looks very similar on certain stages. When I was looking at speed runs for this game, it was like the most straight path thing I ever saw. It was just very precise movement across this stage.
Well, and I've seen people that are speedrunners that are holding their controller instead of standard N64 two hands like this. They're holding it like backwards. They hold it with their left hand on A, and then they hold their controller sideways and steer like this. I was like, what is going on here? It was a guy who was speedrunning it for Games Done Quick. And I was like, what? How are you holding the controller? I know the 64 controller is not everyone's favorite. They all have problems. People are like, what is this? But he's holding it just the weirdest way I've ever seen. But the dude flew through the game, so I guess maybe it worked for him.
The only thing I do with the 64 controller is because, hands are off balance if you just keep it directly straight. So I just tilt it so my thumbs are aligned. So a little bit sideways.
I totally do that too. I didn't think about it until I just picked it up right now. I was like, look, what do I do? And I hold it kind of crooked so that my thumbs are similar. And maybe that's just because of all of our years playing PlayStation and Xbox. We get that ergonomic feel. And so now going back to it, you're like, oh, this is how I should hold this. Because I don't think I held it like that when it first came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's too hard for me to dig back, but I mean, the D-pad, it was never used in games I played as a kid, aside from maybe Kirby 64. So I guess I'm just kind of...
I think I only used it in Tony Hawk games on the 64. I'm trying to remember any other game that I really ever used the D-pad in on 64.
Mischief Makers?
There's not a lot. Yeah, I never even knew that game existed till I was older.
Yeah, me neither.
And I still haven't played it, actually.
It's fun.
No, I was gonna say Yoshi's Story maybe, but no, that's definitely analog.
That's a shame. That should be D-pad.
It should be.
Well, here's our Drake.
I want to point out just on Drake Lake, the last lap, you full on hit that pylon with the front of the jet ski and launched a good 10 feet in the air. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's really.
But yeah, this part here.
This on Expert.
That took me so long.
Nope.
Yeah.
Forget it. Just give me a second.
This race is ridiculous. Yeah. At least you didn't miss too many. That's
right.
Yeah.
I'm never
on Expert. Once you get to that,
all them, but it's. I'll go for it the first attempt, and then after that, forget it. I could take a buoy or two.
Yeah, it's that specific serpentine section. Once you get past, there's the where it splits off around the little island, and then you make that left right before the section with the pylons. Well, you have to. It's just a straightaway technically, but the buoys make it a full serpentine where you're jumping from one side to the other, and if you're not turning sharp enough, that's it. You're done. And that I can imagine getting through that with D Mariner. That guy has no handling. How are people doing that?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not brave enough to use the Mariner, but maybe just for fun.
Yeah, no. I was, for the challenge, I thought maybe I'm using the wrong guy. Let me find out kind of how every player plays, because I've been playing with Hayami my whole life, because he's the first player, so just jump in there and play with him. And so I went through and played with each character just on Sunny Beach to kind of get a feel of what's going on. And it's partially because I've been playing with the same character for so long, but trying to play with a new character is really taxing on just how does this even work? My mental capacity to try a new character was diminished. It felt like it was really interesting because they all just play so differently.
Mm-hmm. So ingrained in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember ready for Hayami here, but he's doing okay, all things considered.
Oh yeah. I remember the first time that I played through this level on hard, on the circuit, and then that opened up, and I was like, wait, what is going on? This track is so short all of a sudden. Like it takes away like a third of the course by doing that.
It was funny because when I played on normal, I kind of like, I thought, I wonder if there's a way to get through here. And then you play on hard and it opens up, and it is like, what's going on here? Why are they changing things?
Yeah. Well, and actually there is technically a way to do it on normal too. This wave here, you can catch, because it's the same wave every time, you can catch just enough air that you can nosedive underneath that barrier, and then you can just follow through the rest of the course as if it was on the hard, while the rest of the racers have to go all the way around. But it's very tricky. I didn't know how to do, I still can't do it, but I tried a couple of times recently, and it just smacks straight into that wall every time. But the clearance tolerance is minuscule. Like, you have to hit it like right on. So
yeah, that's an expert tip right there. This course, when this one changed on hard, I did not know what I was doing. Like, there's a shortcut that opened up to the right. It wasn't open on normal. So I felt like super blindsided when I first got here on hard.
Yeah.
And those turns in that little tunnel are insane.
This course is visually appealing because you have things like the helicopter that comes in, and both this is like a, was a medic helicopter, looks like, and then there's another one at the end, and there's like some cool architecture and stuff. But because of this area right here we're going through, this is why I left it off the challenge, because I didn't want to play through it. I freaking hate this corridor.
It's bad. Yeah, computer players always, they struggle in there too a little bit, but not as much as me. I really struggle there.
Yeah. I don't know many people that can make it through that without slamming into the wall. So I think you did a great job, honestly. You didn't fall off your jet ski. You did pretty good on that. Yeah,
it's good enough. And the trick too I was reading was if you do fall off jet ski, or if you kind of like start dangling, if you start mashing A, you get up quicker. Mm-hmm. If you don't, your guy stays down longer. Things that I guess just need to be explained. Yeah.
I think we'd figure that out as kids, but didn't realize it because we were just mad and we were smashing buttons,
Right. Yeah, so it just worked out. And then
that's what they did. They did that in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. They realized people were just smashing buttons to get up in Pro Skater 1. So in 2, if you hit the buttons, you actually get up faster because of that. Okay. I guess Tony Hawk is another series that I really love, so I can talk about that forever too. But and this jump here, if you actually hit the one that's in the middle, it allows you to turn around faster, and you can get past the ship. But it looks like a lap record. So good job on that.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess next time I'll do middle jump. The CPUs always seem to take that. I was like, why are they doing that? But I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's because you don't have to go out so far to make the turn, right? You can turn essentially while you're on the jump, and then you'll land facing back the other way. And so it's just a little tip on that. It's fun. One thing I did notice as well with this challenge is that because a lot of people hadn't played the game in a while, or they hadn't played it at all, everyone's footage that they're sending in, it's like a new record, and then like everyone's getting new records all over the place. So it looks like everyone's just flying down the course. But if you guys watch the results video, you'll see that there's a degree of difference in the actual times. There's a lot of the times are really close though. There's some nail biters for sure. Nice. It's gonna be a good time. Oh, dang.
Yeah, I know, it's so bad. I'm so far in the lead right now, like 29 to like I think it's like 18 or something. But yeah, that was just brutal, right into the mine.
Well, and I think even though like we all know Mario Kart for rubber banding because of the items, I think that there is a little bit of it in this game as well, because you can catch up, but then also when you get ahead, they don't really catch up to you. Like I think there's some AI mechanic in here where they want you to win or feel like a winner, you know. They still race against you for sure, but like once you get to a certain distance from them, say like 2 seconds to between 2 and 4 seconds ahead, they kind of stop catching up to you, it feels like.
Yeah, the hardest thing I'm battling against is definitely the cutoffs in expert, because like I don't know, I would get to like close to 30 and then I know it's another brutal. That was awful. I wish I just clipped through. And you know what it is too? Is like I had been playing expert as the lady and not like making it past either this or the glacier course like every time. So my palms are starting to get sweaty. Like, yes, I got such a sizable lead. This is going to be the time I beat expert. And then I'm just missing the dumbest jumps.
But isn't it so cool that you didn't clip through? Like, they put enough effort into this game that there's not a lot of places to really like glitch through that I'm aware of. Now, I'm not a glitch hunter, so maybe there's a bunch that I've missed out on, but there's things like that where you hit the wall and it is the wall, and it like the game works as it's supposed to. And I think that's really cool, because a lot of times there are games where you can find where it doesn't work like it's supposed to, and people will exploit that for, you know, speed runs and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I've done my share in Castlevania, so I understand. But no, I think
Castlevania 1?
Yeah.
Interesting, because that might be the next challenge.
Watch out! I got a 21-minute run.
Let's go.
Yeah, but this
that's really good.
Yeah, I'm going for sub 20, but like, man, you got to really play it good. I'm not confident enough in the Dracula battle to get it first try every time, so that's always kind of a hiccup for me. But holy water, man.
Yeah,
that's the move.
Interesting. I always avoided holy water when I was a kid because it's just not as exciting looking, you know. Like, there's the axe looks really cool because it's got the arch, and there's I played a lot of Super Castlevania 4 too. I didn't play the first Castlevania for a long time. Castlevania 4 is my introduction to the series, and so going back, I was like, oh, I don't want to touch holy water. That's boring. It's a boring attack.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what to say. It is the most OP item in the game, but I guess we'll find out.
It's good to know. Yeah.
I got a little beginner.
New challenge. The challenge is you can't use holy water. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to
knife only?
cut you off with the knee.
That's fine. That's probably better that way anyway.
Nice. This level doesn't really get talked about, I feel like, enough, because it is only available in expert. It's the last level, and so people have to really be dedicated to play through it. But one thing I think is really interesting about it is the initial 3 jumps that they put in there, because this level is really fun for stunt mode because of that. But also it makes it not as fun in the race because those jumps are there, and everyone wants to hit jumps. It's hardly a time where you play a game that has ramps where you're like, I don't think I want to launch in the air. Like, no, that's what you want to do, you know, because you can't do that in real life. So do it in the game, launch in the air. But if you do that, then it takes away so much of your momentum in this level. So I think that's a really interesting mechanic they put into this level, or level design. It's like, hey, I know you're going to want to do this, but really what you need to do is go around it if you want a good time. It's just interesting how they did that.
My biggest issue with that level is that compared to Twilight City, which is like a really awesome level to unlock on hard, you get freaking like this deadly icicle, you know, glacier area where you can run into snowballs, skid on ice, and, you know, go out of control. It's like the least rewarding thing for me. So I don't know. I'm not,
yeah, I can see that for sure.
But this is my first time making it.
It's definitely a bland.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll say it's definitely a bland level compared to everything else, too. Like, because it is a glacier, so everything is a blue-white color. It's definitely a bland level compared to everything else, too. Like, because it is a glacier, so everything is a blue-white color. It's definitely a bland level compared to everything else, too. Like, because it is a glacier, so everything is a blue-white color. and then you have the water that's blue and the sky that's blue. The only colors really you have is the racer and the buoys. You don't really get a lot of variation. And like you said, coming from Twilight City, where that one is just like an overload of visual information, Glacier Coast is really just kind of bland.
Yeah. This one's great, though. What's the name again?
Southern Island.
Southern Island's fantastic. I remember the first time playing this, there is the killer whale on the side, right?
Yeah, so it's right after, it's on the second lap after the ship is when you see it. So it did pop up a second ago, but it was pretty far off. If you get like sub 30 on your your laps, then you can race almost next to it, depending on where you're at in the level. It's pretty cool when you get there. But this wave right here, that's the one we were talking about earlier. That is the most fun wave. Oh no, you needed first.
I tied for first. I needed 35 points or 37 points. That's brutal.
Oh, that's so lame that it gave it to Jeter.
I know, because otherwise if you tie and you're at the point threshold, you would get the tournament. But
yeah,
I didn't understand that. So that was really unfortunate. And you know, I think it sucks because the placing, it was like 2 points for third, I think. So even if I took
7,
second,
4, 2, and 1.
Even if I took second, I still wouldn't have got the little tournament there. So
37. Yeah.
My biggest screw up, I realized, was on the Twilight City because of those two awful mishaps. So I knew confidently going in, you fixed Twilight City and you got this. You know, and besides,
that was a fantastic turn.
It was my first time using what's his name?
Hayami, I think it is, right?
Yeah. It was my first time using Hayami, so I was like, oh, I'll give myself some grace here. And also, that's some gaming bullshit. Like, the 30s, who made this rule?
Why 37? Why can't it just be, you know, whoever has the most points? It has to be a certain amount. Like, that's, Oh, dang. This one, that left-hand buoy right before the turn, I think is further left on expert than it is on hard. And so you have to really launch off the wave at an angle to line up for that buoy, more than you have to on the hard setting, which is really interesting they did that.
Right.
Because the rest of the buoys are pretty much where they're supposed to be, but this one is a little bit tighter.
I definitely
Great overtake on that one.
Thank you. I definitely use that trick of like skip the last buoy if it's right before the finish line. This is one stage where you can do it, and the next one are like perfect for just dodging those buoys because it doesn't really hurt you; it helps you to do it. So I'm always getting a confident 7 points on those two. And then
on Sunset Bay. I was saying on Sunset Bay, that last buoy, especially if it's the last lap, you always skip it. If you can, I know on normal there's no spikes that are in the water at the end there, but on hard and expert they put in that whole minefield. But if you can navigate that, and technically the game will let you win if you're out of bounds as well. So if you are going for a real time trial and you're trying to beat your best time ever, if you turn right before the spikes and you go out of bounds on your last lap, you can pass the finish line and you'll miss a buoy, but you'll maintain your speed as well as cut off a good section of the course. It'll actually allow you to do that.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, I'll have to apply that.
So it's like right here after this left buoy, if you just turn right, it'll allow you to go out of bounds and it'll say, oh, you passed the finish line or whatever. And it takes off like 4 seconds a time. It's a huge cut if you're doing times trials.
I think we should probably...
I didn't use it in the challenge.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I mean, you could have used it. It's fair game.
It felt cheating, and then I got some other people's runs in, and I was like, I should have used that. Oh, well.
Yeah, nothing's off limits, you know. and stuff like that. Unless you make it explicit, you know, people are going to do it.
Right. And actually, no one else in the challenge uses that exploit. So that's cool that we all kind of kept it pretty respectful, I would say. You know, pretty much true to the course.
Yeah, and it's shaving off what, like a couple milliseconds there.
Yeah, I mean, it can cut off about 2 seconds probably.
That's something.
Because you don't have to go around. It's just a straight shot for that.
Okay. That's fair. So how would you rank some of these stages? We could kind of just go back to the first one. Was it Sunny Beach?
So we're gonna do like a S, A, B, D tier type thing, or you want them like in order of what I think is the best?
Oh, let's do like a letter ranking or a wave ranking. Maybe we could go like high tide, low tide. I don't know.
I would say, let's say like my least favorite course. So we'll start with the least and kind of work our way up. I'm gonna go with Glacier Coast, and for a lot of things that we talked about a second ago, it's just so disappointing when that's what you unlock in Expert after you've unlocked Twilight City and you've played through all these other levels, and that giant patch of ice that you have to slide across, it just is not that fun.
Yeah, I think I agree there.
So yeah, that's my lowest. Oh man. Probably the next lowest would be Port Blue, and that's the one that opened up the shortcut when you get to hard and expert, and it's all because of that tunnel that you have to turn so sharp in, and really even in normal when you don't have to do that, it is one of the more plain levels as well. Because you do get in and it's just like a big walls on both sides, and you kind of lose out on the visual of the scenery. Still better than Glacier Coast, but definitely on my lower end there. And then I guess we'll have to go Drake Lake, but it's hard because Drake Lake has not the best music, but one of the best songs in the whole game, because that flute that carries you through, it sticks in my head. Like I'll be just doing other things in life, and all of a sudden I'll just think of the Drake Lake song because it's such a catchy tune. And then from there, I would say probably, man, see, because now we're getting into Sunny Beach, Sunset Bay, Twilight City. Am I missing anything? Probably Marine Fortress next, because it has the cool jump, but that choppy water with the debris in it gets real sketchy, especially if you have 4 or 2 people playing and you like one of you hits the other person into the debris. I would put that down lower, and then man, I guess Sunset Bay. And then from there, Twilight City. It's hard to get to these last ones. Yeah, so Sunset Bay, then Twilight City, and then Sunny Beach, and then Southern Island. Southern Island's like my favorite, and it's my favorite because of the dive under the pier and being able to race Shamu and jump over the ship. Like those are all such really cool little touches, but also if you do all those things, it can mess up your time.
Yeah.
I mean, the dive will help you, but like I always thought jumping over the ship was going to make me go faster, and it turns out it makes you go slower. It looks cool, it's awesome to see, but just like on Glacier Coast, that level design, you want to do it because you can't do it in real life, but it makes your time just drop out. So you have to avoid the fun stuff to do if you're doing time trials. So yeah, that's what I think that's the rank that would go. We'll go through that again. Glacier Coast, and then Port Blue, Marine Fortress, Drake Lake. I think I've messed up already what my own ranking was.
I think you had Drake Lake as 6 and Marine Fortress as 5.
Oh, did I? Okay. Yeah. And then Sunset Bay, Sunny Beach, Twilight City, and then Southern Island. I do like Sunny Beach better than Sunset Bay, mainly because it is the first level, and it's just so perfect for a first level. It's like, this is a very simple track. The buoys are not too crazy, and it really gives you a lot of options for learning the mechanics. You have some sharp turns, you have rogue waves, technically, the ones that come out from the right-hand side and push you left, and then you have a lot of buoy motion. Like, it's such a really perfect first level to introduce you to the game and what's going on. And so I think that's what we're going to go with there for the ranking.
Nice. I wonder if mine's any different. So, yeah, I think I probably agree in Glacier area being the lowest. I think that Blue Port, is that this one? Is
Port Blue, that's this one here, yeah.
Port Blue. I think I agree with you. It's pretty plain, and it's just kind of not open, and it's confined. It's restrictive, but I don't think it's worse than the Glacier area, Cool Bay. I think that one is just is really demanding and not rewarding. And this one on normal is not that bad. You only play that Glacier one on expert, so it's kind of like by default the worst one. Then for 6. See, I don't know if I hate Drake Lake, or hate might be too strong for any of these really, but I don't know if I dislike it that much. I actually like the fog effects, like how it starts off really foggy and then it starts to dissipate. Like, I think it has really cool water, but I do think it's a bit plain, and those pegs in the later
the pylons
are not pleasant to deal with on expert, but it's only on expert. The other difficulties are not that bad. So that's why I'm kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
But do I prefer it or not to the Marine Fortress? I think I just like how hectic everything is in Marine Fortress, so that's definitely higher for me. So I'll keep Drake Lake at 6. For 5, yeah, this is kind of where it gets a little dicey.
Yeah.
Because all these are like A or S tier, right? Like, they're all pretty solid.
They're all so good.
I think I actually really do like the Marine Fortress just for the craziness of it. So that's not my 5. I think I'd probably call 5. Oh, that's so hard. I guess I'll say Sunset Bay, the second stage. Just because comparatively, I don't really feel like there's a lot of interesting turns or anything going on. But it's a great looking stage. It's just not as dynamic as some of the other ones. For number 4, I think I'd go the first stage, Sunny Beach. It's good, but it's just like a straight figure 0 track, right? So it's nothing,
a NASCAR track.
Nothing complex, but again, beautiful water, beautiful sun. And so that leaves top 3. I don't have a particular order right now, but it's the Twilight City, it's the Marine Fortress, and it's what's the last one? Blue Lagoon?
Southern Island. It might be different in Japanese.
I think you're right. It's just, I cannot put it to memory. I keep wanting to call it Sunday or something. Southern Island. Okay. Yeah. Oh God, that's really hard. I think Marine Fortress has to be 3rd. I don't think that's my favorite or anything, but it's very eventful, and just the opening up of a shortcut in the later difficulties is kind of awesome. After that, Southern Island is probably my number 2. While I really like the killer whale and some of the aesthetics, and even that little wave at the end. I actually don't know how to do the dive under, so you're gonna have to kind of teach me about that when we get to that.
For sure.
But I think this Twilight City is this is like something out of a Sonic game or something. I just love how visually appealing it is compared to everything. The opening up of a shortcut and multiple ways to handle it. The theme music is kind of jazzy. I love this stage. Yeah. This is probably my number 1.
That's a great number one. Honestly, Twilight City is a fantastic course. And it has a lot of interesting turns, right? So you have, if you don't go through the shortcut, that area with the sandbar is basically straight. But then you come in here and you have this real tight turn and then it opens back up. It's a lot of just like, I would call the level, it's like a breathing level. Like it's tight and then it opens back up and tight and opens back up. It's just really nice dynamic to it, which, I mean, this level is, first, it's beautiful. Like you said, the music is fantastic and it just has so many options in it. Even though after you've played it a bunch of times, you choose the same option over and over. If your first couple times playing it, there's a lot to learn and it's really dynamic.
Yeah, and it's rewarding to unlock too. Like you have to play it on hard to play this stage. It's a great reward. So
yeah,
and you need
agreed.
some skill to handle things in the stage, whether it's going off the wood. You know, the Kawasaki jet ski starts to slide on the wood. So you have to be kind of careful.
What a great mechanic too. They take that into consideration. They could have just been like, oh, you hit the ramp, you go straight. Whatever, but there is some slipperiness once you get out of the water. If you hit the wood, and you start to slide a little bit, and if you hit the beach, the shoreline, there's definitely a slowdown. Like they did some really great things with the physics in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just very well made. It's hard to believe it's one of the first N64 games.
Yeah.
Some
I mean,
of those
what a way to
first
come
ones,
out swinging.
Yeah, just I look at those first games for N64. I'm like, these are actually really good. I just finished Blast Corps recently, and I was like, wow, like this is so much fun. And Super Mario 64, come on, Pilot Wings is great. I love Pilot Wings.
I need to play through Pilot Wings because I played it as a kid when it came out, and I didn't understand what was going on. Right, I was just like, oh, okay, this is a thing, and I think it will be more enjoyable now as kind of like a cozy, relaxing game. Then I didn't give it the appreciation. That was sick. That was cool. I don't know if you guys saw that in the race, but it just made Jeter launch straight into the wall. That was awesome.
We're a little desynced, so that they might have seen that a couple seconds ago. But
oh, are we?
Yeah, that's all right. They'll know.
Dang.
Yeah, this stage is just.
They'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah,
it's hard to love
this section
one.
Here. It's so annoying though, the buoy placement with the ice patches. That's a reason to hate this level, just because of that last section before the finish line. I mean, the rest of it is kind of like, that's fine, but then you hit those ice chunks that are under the water, and you can't not hit them because of the buoy placement. That's so annoying.
Yeah, I think you have to be hard pressed to like or love this one. I'd like to meet you. Like, who loves this stage?
Yes,
it's not me.
If this is your favorite course, please shoot me a message, and I want to find out why. Like I said, though, it is a fun course on stunt mode, though. That's an interesting thing to think about. Is like these levels were integrated both into a circuit race, but also there is stunt mode, and how much of their design was geared towards that stunt mode. Like in Southern Island here, there is a ring to jump through over that ship. So in stunt mode, it makes perfect sense. And then you have the same setting for racing, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, this makes me go slower. So that's a really interesting game design point, that they use the same settings for two vastly different styles of play. Very interesting.
All right, we're coming up on that wood jump here. Can you talk to me about the methodology for using it?
Yeah. So you're going to hit these first three waves. You actually want to try to cut through them with the dampener or by pressing forward. And then as you get to that jump, you're going to pull back at the top and then forward to nosedive. And as you go, you'll go under that pier, and you can kind of turn left as you're underwater, and it'll launch you out at an angle towards the finish line.
Wow.
There.
That's awesome. My time trial is definitely going to suffer on this stage. But it's only one lap that you can really use it for, so I might make up for it.
Exactly. In the second lap, it's you can follow the same pathway essentially, and still get that time. We all go under the bridge the second time, you know.
Yeah.
But these waves here on hard and expert are so much bigger than on normal that the first time I encountered them, I was like, what is going on with this game? Like, how am I supposed to get through that? Because they're just massive waves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about the physics of it, because the water is being pushed through those wooden panels, that's kind of how the waves would actually behave. It's similar to like if you have a jetty, you know, the waves next to the jetty are pretty large because it's all of the kinetic energy is being focused down into a smaller area. And so you get some really crazy waves because of that. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that they put that into the physics of this game.
You've finished fourth and got 1 point. Keep trying.
Favorite wave right there.
Yeah, top 5 waves. It's up there. But I knew I had this one in the bag because I was already at 38. The nearest competition was 22.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can kind of play.
Congratulations on beating expert.
Thank you. Appreciate the support, the advice. I don't know if I could have done it with A. Stewart. So he
I don't. I feel bad that they made her top speed so low too, because like her acceleration is great, and I clocked everyone's top speeds, and like D Mariner hits, I want to say 123 kilometers an hour. Hayami hits 118. Jeter hits at like 116, 118, depending on straightaway, and then Stewart, it only gets to I want to say it's like just at 100. Like, so the top speed for Stewart is so much lower than everyone else's that you have to count on everyone else crashing so that they have to take a long time to accelerate to win with her.
Yeah, it's a shame that was my pick for the custom circuit, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh well.
That's okay. We all live and learn.
Yeah, listen, I'm
it's interesting.
Races her, so.
I'm not gonna say how many people. That's one of the things I want to point out in the challenge video results video is that like the amount of people that use each racer and how many times people hit max power off of their initial start, and some of the statistics in that as well. Because watching people race is cool, but also kind of seeing how the analytics of it comes out is going to be really interesting as well.
Awesome! I can't wait. That'll be a fun watch. So there it is, Wave Race 64. We did a little commentary. So, what are your thoughts for the viewers at home? Just about maybe if they've played Wave Race, if they haven't.
If you've played Wave Race, and if you haven't played Wave Race, go play it now, right now. I don't care how. It's on Switch Online. You can go get a cartridge, emulate it. I don't care. Go and play Wave Race 64 now. This game is so good. It just makes you happy by playing it too. I don't know anyone that played it that was like, I'm sad I played that game. No, it's a fantastic game. It'll make you happy.
Awesome. Agreed. Ladies and gentlemen at home, that's Mr. Waves and Games. Go check him out.
Catch you on the next wave.